Hello everyone, I'm Havoc and this is Factorio. We are starting out today over here right next to the military science build that we did in the last episode. I have done just a few things in between the episodes. I came down here and I added in a little setup to make landfill. Not super fast. I mean, it's pretty fast, but it's not, as fast as the machines can run. They do sit and wait for a little bit. What I did here was simply make the output priority on the main feed so that stone will go down to the base if it needs it first, and then anything overflow will go over here and be turned into landfill. And the reason we're doing landfill is because I've been running around this little body of water trying to, do what I can around it. And I'm thinking, I could do so much on this side of the bus if I had the space to do so. And the only thing stopping me are these weird bodies of water. Well, Factorio has this thing called landfill for filling in bodies of water. So I started working on that. I did also clean up the remnants that were left around here. The last little bits of the early base are gone and cleaned up. I did put away a lot of the wood, small power poles, and the such wooden chests, stuff that I don't want on me. It's stored very carefully right over there. While I was doing that, I did have research running. We have completed all of the research that can be done without blues, without chemical science, so it's time to start working on that. But chemical science is just that, chemicals, so we're going to have to get into oil. Now, I've already done all the research, I just need to get it producing. And the reason we need oil is you need plastic to make red circuits, or the advanced circuits. And plastic requires you to get oil. You need petroleum and coal in order to make plastic. And then sulfur. Sulfur is another byproduct of processing oil. You get the petroleum gas and you combine that with water and you make sulfur. And then you can use that to make these. So I'm looking at this and trying to think, should I make sulfur down where I'm planning on doing oil processing? Or should I make it right where I'm going to do stuff? Here is roughly where I'm going to do the oil processing. You see my nice neat line to get down to the oil down here. Let's go get started on that right away. I want to get the pump jacks down. I did craft 10 of them earlier. There's already a power pole run down there to set up the radar that's down there, so I can come down and just add the pump jacks in. And actually, I'm going to want some tanks before I get too far away from anything. What am I lacking? Iron plate. Okay. And I'm also going to want some pumps. This requires engines, and this is something... Can you make this in your own inventory? Now for some reason, my brain is saying that it's not possible. Yes, and that would be because... Yes, cannot be crafted by hand. Got it. So I am going to want just a handful of those. We're going to throw down what we need right here. And obviously we're going to have to set up an assembly line for these because engines are part of the blue science recipe. And so we're going to have that set up anyways. I think there are a few other things that require engines that we may actually need to buffer them and or simply set up production of the engines elsewhere. We'll figure that out when we come to it though. Right now I just need a few because I need to make some pumps. I'm going to leave that running. Actually, we're going to throw it down here. I got one more. Is that going to use everything I need to also craft the engines? There's a good chance of that. They probably share the same resources for crafting. Pipes and steel. Actually, no, I don't think so. The engine uses steel for sure. And pipes. Never mind. Yeah, that's the same. You use some steel, some gears, and pipes to make the engine, and then you add some more steel and pipe in order to get a pump. sounds about right. I am going to aim all of these up, the outputs, that blue arrow. I'm going to just aim them all up and then figure out how we're going to connect all of these. So I have a lot of pipes because you need a lot of pipes when you're doing all of this work here with fluids. Trying to use undergrounds as much as possible just so that I can fit in between this area. Right, so as I'm moving along, running around in here, I don't want to be stuck constantly. I will just run some regular pipes right through there. There's no need for an underground there. And then we can underground to here, to here. That hooks all of those up. Underground there. And now we're just looking at possibly doing this. And I do believe every one of those pump jacks is now linked together. Now, fluid tanks in Factorio, and fluid in general in Factorio, is very particular. So what I'm going to want to do here is pump, and I didn't leave enough room. I'm going to want to pump everything into these tanks on the input side because I want to pressurize essentially this area, because if you don't do this, then what's going to happen is it will try and equalize. And it's by a percentage of what's in the pipe. So this pipe will have to get to 50% before the tanks get to 50%. And I don't want anything to slow the pump jacks down at all. So what I want it to do is push as much as possible into here. And when you have these, the way I'm rotating them, alternating keeps inputs connected on all of these tanks, so they should also equalize amongst one another as it's filling up. It's going to fill this one, the closest one, the fastest because it's one pipe length away, and then it will take several more pipe lengths to get to the next input here. But as this one fills up quickly, it's also going to push into here as it continues down the line, and it will eventually equal out. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side where we connect all the outputs. And then I'm going to have a pump that takes from there and will pressurize our output system going where it will be going, which is going to be up that way. And yeah, I think that's what I want to do. Now I'm considering, is there enough room here? I've got lots of room over there, so it's not the craziest thing to imagine running out of space when you're doing oil processing. There are a lot of pipes that you have to place down. I can't remember if I've done advanced oil processing yet, or you might need to do oil processing first and then you do the advanced oil processing. But there, we've powered all the pump jacks. Last episode we put down a whole lot of turrets down here, and that's because I'm pretty sure this is going to be very upsetting to the biters. So the difference is not that much. Got 4.5 to 3.3, almost 5 to almost 4. It's a slight variation, like I said, but it will equal out. I'm not going to make a giant field of tanks because that is actually inefficient once you have so many tanks in one area. 5 is more than enough. Each one of these will hold 25,000 crude oil. So this is 125,000 crude oil, and that is plenty for right now. We just need to get this over to where we are going to process it. And that lines up pretty well. I like that. Turret in the way. I could have simply put the pipe down in front of it and moved over. And actually, we need to stop for a second, clear some trees, and then look at how we're going to set this up. Now, if I want to maintain the 2 science packs a second that I've been working off of, that's going to require a decent amount of oil processing. Let's see, 24 seconds, you get 2, so it's 12 seconds to make 1. And it uses 1 sulfur. It uses the 3 reds, and that's going to use the 6 plastic. So it's actually not going to be that crazy. The issue is when I start doing rockets and and getting, what is it, the rocket sections that you have to make and all of that. I'm trying to remember the difference between, I played a whole lot of space exploration was the last thing that I was doing, and it changes things a good bit. So I'm trying to remember what just vanilla is. That's all right. Let's see. Oh, I only have 1 oil refinery. That certainly will not cut it. You need stone brick for that. How interesting. Well, let's run over and grab some stone brick. I know where a little bit is. Oh, I did not buffer this. Or, excuse me, I did not restrict this buffer. So that's an excessive amount of stone brick. It's okay. I just restricted it, and as I come and grab from it, it will end up winding down. I'm running right past my buffer for iron plates, and I'm also filling my inventory very quickly with lots of random goodies. Let's see. My favorite number's 7, so I'm going to make 7 oil refineries, and it's literally because my favorite number's 7, no other reason. I haven't done any math to figure that out. I'm just going with 7. Not where I want that. There we go. This is exciting because this means I am 1 step closer to robots, to getting my robots. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where's my 7th one? There it is. That's a little tip if you're having trouble identifying what's in your inventory. If you hover over here, it will blink. See the items blinking where it's at in your inventory. That's what I did with the oil refinery just then because I could not find it. Now, question here. Basic oil processing, right? Okay, so where's the advanced oil processing? And what do I need in order to do that? It's this very first one. So I need a handful of blue science before I can do anything. Hopefully, this stays the oil when I change it to advanced oil. This input stays as oil and the other one becomes water, and that makes it super easy to come in here and pipe all of this in. I'm going to go ahead and drop this one just in case I decide to expand it. Now, another thing that I could do is drop a pump here. Actually, let's do that. It might be a bit redundant, and it may actually not be a good idea since I have a pump at the far end. It may be better to simply let it pull the fluid through to this end. I don't actually know which way is more efficient. But we are going to drop a power pole down like so. That's another thing that I fixed in between episodes, thinking about it, is I ran a line of the big electric poles down through right next to our walkway and use that to link up power to our builds so we don't have the little bitty squirrely power lines running everywhere anymore. Alright, now right now this one is going to produce nothing but petroleum gas. So I think what I'm going to do is just set up what I need for the petroleum gas. And then I'll come back later. I was already putting down the pipes over here like I was setting up for everything, but I will just do the petroleum gas to begin with so that we can get production up and running. Because we're going to need this petroleum gas in order to start producing our blue science. Because petroleum gas is going to give us plastic and it's also going to give us sulfur. Now, should I make plastic here and then send it down the line? That might be what I end up doing. Let's see. I'm going to need to bring it in out here so I'm not cramping everything. And this is a bit of a mess already. I think I'm probably going to have to sneak through here anyways. But that's what my plan is. Make plastic and send it that way. I'm going to need some chemical plants in order to start processing this. I'm also going to need more water. I'm going to end up needing water down here as well when we get to the advanced oil. But this is running. This is going to get us 25,000 petroleum. Let's see. I'm going to leave some room here. What I like to do with these is a little setup like that. This will get me petroleum gas into here. But I can also access the sides right here, the back sides, if I need to pass something in. So what I'm probably going to do is bring coal along here in the front. Let's actually just go ahead and run this belt. Now the craft time on these is 1 second. It needs 1 coal every 1 second. That can be handled with regular inserters, but it is going to produce 2 plastic. Alright, 2 plastic every second. So this is going to give me 4 plastic a second. And I'm doing it like this so that it will put on both sides of the line of the belt here. Now we need to power this, and then we need to get coal over here. Trying to leave room because I am going to have to run quite a few pipes through this area. And if I want to expand the production of our oil refineries, I don't want to make this area too cramped. 7 might be enough. It may not be enough. We will find out shortly when we get going. Now, just how much coal is it going to be using to make my plastic? 1 coal a second. That's not hard to do. I also know that I am running multiple, right? More than one of those, so we will do this. That's very easy. Each one of these is going to mine very slowly. I need to work on the productivity more than 10%, but for that you need blues. Blue science, that is. And I'm trying to stay off of ore patches as much as possible because I will inevitably end up needing to mine more and or move the miners as time goes on. But this will get us plastic being produced. And I'll keep an eye on it once it gets going and see if I need to mine more coal for this. Because there is just a little bit to the side right here where I could drop a few more miners and underground and just add to that belt. But we'll see. What we do need to do is take this output. Let's leave a gap. And run down here. This is where things get messy. Okay. So I'll have to do this, which looks very silly, but I can't jump that whole gap with a yellow belt. And I don't feel like wasting time crafting a red one, a red underground, to go right there. And then here, I think we're just going to run like so, and underground at that point. We're really starting to get some spaghetti going over here with our supply lines. Yeah, that's right, you can just hold down. So how's that gonna work? Yeah, see, that's the issue with it. I can't make that clearing. What I can do is turn here, and there's an iron plate randomly on the ground. And that will get us where we need to go. And right here will be our plastic. We're going to need plastic to make red circuits. That's, at this point, that is the only thing we'll be using the plastic for. And there it comes. Running the outfeed belt like that already will also allow me to run down here and see, is this fast enough? Does it keep up? Looks like I have plenty of coal. It's already backed up. And this is just running. That looks good. So if you watch the gap over here, right next to my mouse pointer, it is consistently going further down. So I do have enough mining happening right now for the coal. That's great. And that gets plastic. Now sulfur will need water and then the petroleum. We can also make this right here, or we could pipe the petroleum and water over to where we're going to make our chemical science. But I do know that sulfur will be used to make sulfuric acid right here as well, combining with some water and iron plate, and making some batteries. So here's the thing, I can send water and petroleum gas down the line, produce the sulfur locally where I'm making our chemical science, and also produce it locally where I will then make sulfuric acid and batteries, and that will give me easy access to iron and copper right off the bus. So that's the plan then. Just a little bit of thinking. Oh, also it's dark over here. Let's get things lit up for you guys. Make it nice and pretty. Whoa, that is a little excessive. Don't need 4 lights in the same spot. So we're going to want to take off of this line and pump out to where it's going. I do not want to fill up a whole lot of pipes, so we're going to do the same thing where I want to put a pump at the end, so right at the source, to keep this pipe right here, you'll see is full because there's a pump on the other side, but I want a pump at the end where it's going to be requesting the fluid essentially and pulling it there, and that will keep the pipes right at the machines full as well. So where are we going to stick these pipes? I think maybe we should come over here next to this, but then how are we going to get in there cleanly? I can come up here next to our furnace arrays, across, and then up. And I guess that's what we're going to do. I just convinced myself. So, to run over here, I want to leave a gap. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that should be good. And I'm going to need 2. One is going to be taking water, and one is going to be taking our petroleum gas. There's a tree marked for deconstruction over there, but I don't have any bots, so there'll be no deconstruction happening. Alright. And I'll figure out that corner in just a second. I'm going to do all of the work with the pipes, getting them run first before I put fluid in them, because you'll have to rip the pipes all the way up if you mix fluids or something that you don't want to happen. So that is absolutely not what we want to happen. Is this going to be too close? I feel like it is. I feel like that would be the better option here. And you can use underground pipes very cleverly to prevent connecting with normal pipes, like I did right here. Because if I were to just drop normal pipes right here, this would all connect up and this would be the same pipe network. These will be slightly offset until they hit the next corner. And I think I'm alright with that. Or until we hit a section like that. And we're going to need to keep going. Actually, I can turn somewhere in this area. We want to leave a little bit of room to do any adjusting that we may have to do. Means we want this pipe to end here and come out like so. I am going to run back here and make sure that these line up as best they can. See, here's going to be an issue, which just means these are now in line again, and that's alright. It'll be offset for that corner, straighten back out. Come around here. And we're going to need to think about where we are going to put our build now, because we're getting to the end. Is that okay? Yes. Sometimes I misplace, so I'm double checking that that is connected. Be really annoying to get all the way out here and then your pipes are not connected somewhere in the middle. Yeah, so I have landfill going on, and I just need to make sure. I'm going to do the red circuit build next. The red circuit build simply needs to be after the green circuits, and the green circuits are one of the first intermediate products that we're making right over here. So there's no problem with that. They can be anywhere in this section. So let's look and see how many we're going to need. You need 3 to make 2 in a 24-second time, which means you need 3 to make 1 in 12 seconds. Which is 1 every 4 seconds. I need 1 red circuit every 4 seconds, and I need to double that. So I need 1 every 2 seconds if I'm going to get the 2 blue science per second that I want. So if I need 1 every 2 seconds, they take 6 seconds to craft. I'm going to need 12 machines. Okay. I wonder if I'm going to have enough plastic. We'll see shortly, but I'm pretty sure that we will be all right. We may end up chewing through too many of our green circuits. I don't know just yet. I am going to grab landfill and smooth this area out some, so let's make a trip down here. It helps if you run along the path. 40% faster may not seem like a lot, but it certainly feels like a lot when I'm waiting to get somewhere. We're going to grab all of the landfill. You may think, wow, that's a lot. And then you start placing it and you go, well, that was not a lot. Yep. That is exactly how that happens. Alright. Clean this edge up. I've got enough to probably run just like this across and make a nice neat edge. Alright, maybe I have enough to do this much. 133. Yeah, and now I will not have enough to keep going. We'll do this little spot. Perfect. Gets that out of my inventory and gives me a nice clean area to start the red circuit build. So we also know that we can bring our pipes back. We're going to need to branch off of them, actually probably at this junction, which is another reason why I'm glad I did not go ahead and fill these with fluid, because you'd be wasting fluid that's valuable there. Wait a minute, what am I saying? I'm doing red circuits. I don't need any fluids here for the red circuits. It's on down the line. Getting ahead of myself. I'll go ahead and put these back. And then come back over here and figure out what we're going to do. Now, for this setup, 6. I know that I'm going to need 6 of these. And then I do believe you can get enough copper cable from one machine to feed all of these. It might have been with modules. I can't remember, but I'm fairly certain I remember doing it like this. Fairly certain. Can't be 100% sure, but we're going to come in here. 6 seconds is plenty of time to grab resources off for a regular inserter. So we're going to do that. The other side is going to be grabbing plastic and greens. Same deal. It's going to end up being on a split belt, like so. Plastic and greens going down. This one is going to off-feed the copper cables. So this will just need copper coming into it from the side. What's the best way to power these? I think if I just come down like so, it'll look nice and neat and take care of everything. Let's run power over here. I'm going to place an additional power pole right there just for the symmetry and the look of it. I don't like that connecting. Can I place that back? It's going to connect anyways. That'll be alright. I don't know why it chose that one and that one to connect to instead of the one right here. Can I do that? There we go. Okay. So the trick was pick up the big electric pole and place it back. And that makes it neater. Now, oh, I messed up right there because I need the output. The output is going to go in the middle. Like so. And then this is plastic. And then the other side is just a mirrored image. with our setup looking like this. Then we just need to get the resources onto here that belong here. Also, we need to power it because we did not do that yet. Okay. I think we can sneak one copper line over here and split it right here over at the build. So what I'm probably going to do is this. Trying to not be wasteful with these. Yeah, we'll do it like that, and then underground. There. Okay. That should get us copper over. Well, that is after I place the missing belt. We'll see if that's enough. It should be, I believe, once this thing gets running. In fact, let's just go ahead and throw some in there. And now we need to get plastic and green circuits onto these lines. Plastic is right here. So that one is super easy. I'm just going to place it on the bottom side of the input lines. It's probably best if I underground to say here. And then we'll do the same thing down here just so I'm not impeding on space that I might want to slide something through that gets plastic. Now green circuits. Let's go underground. Yeah, I don't think that's going to run into any issues. Outside of running out of undergrounds. Let's go grab some more. Okay. Ooh, I am splitting right here. I can just bring it across and then drop down. So it'll come across like so. And then drop down right here. Trying to make sure there were no conflicting areas. Okay, and I can just drop a splitter there and run up. Also, let's go ahead and grab more belt because I am going to need it. Where's it at? It's right here, right next to me. And then we need to get greens across right here. Right at the junction. That looks nice. Okay, yeah, so we're going. Now we'll get to see, are we going to be producing enough coils? I think we are. And if we find out that we need even more red circuits, which we're going to need more, this is an easily expandable setup. Because right now, we're using one plastic and one green every 3 seconds down this line. And you can move 7.5 per second down the line. So that means I think we can do quite a few more, expand it out. But this gets production up and running. And we have reds. And like I said, this should be enough to supply our blueprint for science, our chemical science needs. And then if we need red when we need, not if, when we need red circuits for other things, we can simply expand our production. All right, we want reds to run right along in here. And we will just underground where we need to. And I'm leaving room for a secondary green circuit line. I'm definitely going to need it. But that gets that set up. It's not running because I left one belt. Nope, 2 belts. There. Why do we not have reds coming from the top side? What have I done wrong here? I do not have inserters taking out, that's why. There we go. I looked at that and I said there are circuits only on one side of the belt. And there's clearly an issue, but we resolved it. Now, let's move along to the next item. And that is going to be our sulfur. Might be better to do the engines next. Nah, we'll do sulfur. Sulfur. How many do we need, actually? 1 sulfur. And it takes 24 seconds producing 2. It means 1 sulfur every 12 seconds. We need next to no sulfur. Okay, so that's not bad at all. That's only going to be 1, maybe 2 chemical plants making sulfur at the site that we need. So that's not going to take a lot of space. So the next thing we really want to work on is going to be our engines. And engines take a ton of space. So it's a good thing that I just made this area easily expandable into. So let's look at what do we need. Steel, we need pipes, and we need gears. Takes 10 seconds to craft 1. And we need 2, right, every 24 seconds. But that makes 2, so we need 1 every 24 seconds. That's not a whole lot. I don't know why I thought this was going to be super excessive. I mean, we should probably just make it like 1 a second in order to produce an excess, right? I'm having to think about this here because I might be messing up the amounts. And it may also be me remembering space exploration, but for some reason I was thinking I was going to need a massive engine setup. We're going to go ahead and make it pretty decent size. It takes 10 seconds in order to craft 1 of these. And I'm going to need more assembly machines. How are we looking on inserters? Good. We'll go ahead and grab some more belts while we're down here. Let's see. Assembly machines, they sit right here. I'll grab both stacks, why not? Let's go back over here and light up our red circuit build while we're thinking about it. That should be plenty of lights. Okay. We're going to come in, leave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces, and this is where a feed line for our engines is going to go. Let's line it up with this. We have how many products? 3 different products. You need 2 pipes. We could share belt with pretty much anything here, so it doesn't really matter. Steel, and then those 2 items will need to be made right here locally. Iron gear wheels. takes one every 10 seconds. I'm going to make 10 of them, which means I need one a second. We can do that with a single assembler. 2 pipes, which means I'm going to need 2 pipes a second. Can that be done with a single assembler? I can't remember if it makes in half a second. Yes, it does. So 1 making pipes and 1 making gears will supply 10 of these. Now we're going to have to do something interesting with the setup here, and that is this. Because we need to use both sides of this belt. My brain just is happier if I put that down to make it look a little more neater. I know there's no reason to do that, but it makes me happy. So there is a reason. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every one of these will make engines. Like so. Let's get... it's 10 seconds per craft, so it's not going to need any fast inserters. We'll use these, and then we're also going to have to get steel from past these belts. But this will need to be a steel line coming in and running here to feed these. Let's drop our power. Just for symmetry, drop that one out there. Outputs are going to be the same. Slow inserters. And along we go. This is going to give us engines after we feed the correct materials into the system. Alright, steel's easy. It's right here. Let's go ahead and run that one across. There's my undergrounds. No need to do all that fanciness. Trying to make sure I'm not going to run into any conflicting resources here while I'm running this. And it looks like we're good. That's our steel. Over here, we just need to feed... oh, okay, yeah. So this is where we need to turn this, because we need iron coming into these 2 machines very rapidly. Okay. Here is where we need to duplicate this setup right down here to get 2 feed belts out. And it's very simple. It's a slight difference. You don't have to do this underground up here where we are. Right, so the difference here is that we need to underground this. And then feed our iron out. Oh, that was not the right one. Came too far down. This one. Underground here. And feed out. And this gets iron over, and then we will turn it where we need to. Man, I'm using an awful lot of undergrounds. It's good to have them automated. I just grabbed 100 a moment ago. All right. And with that, we're going to have engines coming out. We're most likely going to need to produce more than this. This will get us started. So let's leave room. If that's 2, then that's a 2 gap. Engines can go right along here. And now we're just looking at sulfur. And actually, let's see. I'm going to go real spaghetti here. I think I could make blues right over in here. No. That's not a good idea. I would need to leave room for expanding more components and increasing production of engines and other items there. So we will continue like we've been doing. We're going to put science off to the left, because we need these reds. We're going to need sulfur, which we make locally, and then we need those engines. We're going to leave 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces here, and then run a feed line in for probably, let's put the engines and reds together, or red circuits is what it uses the most of, so it's usually a good idea to put that on the inside belt closest to the feed, which would be here, right? So if I am going to produce blue science, in which I'm going to need 12, maybe that's what I'm remembering, that you need a giant line of blue science assemblers. Let's put that down. Not what I wanted. All right, let's go. And I've run out of medium power poles. It's okay. This is getting us very, very close to robots. And then I can just have them bring me what I need as I'm using it. And build for me. I cannot wait. Alright, so it's going to look like this. Sulfur is going to go on this line. Or I could actually make that the output line. And that'll be much nicer, which means that reds and engines can be combined right here. Did I turn those correctly? Yes, they look a little odd, but they are turned correctly. We will underground the greens and split off reds. And then we need to get our engines over here to this point. Yeah, this is probably going to take a little redoing later. We will do this and then figure out where the undergrounds belong. I've got to bring this stuff up here, but that will get the resources there heading in the right direction. Now, I need to bring my pipes up. Oh, which I'm put right in the way of. That's what I was trying to avoid doing. So let's go ahead and run this up here. No. Can't be messing up the side of the belt because I'm using both sides of the belt. Wait a minute, it doesn't matter because it top loads further down. That can be an issue though, so that's something that I'm normally good about catching. Okay. Now, we're going to need to produce sulfur. And that just takes petroleum and water. Alright, my brain's working here. I'm trying to figure out the best way to sneak the fluids in, and I don't like that placement actually. Again, I'm trying to maintain not going past this point here in case I need to fit something in later. I say in case because I really feel like that's going to happen. So I think the best thing to do here would be to drop these here, and I will simply have to move them out. How many is this going to craft? 2 a second. Okay, so I only need one machine then. One machine will certainly take care of it, and I think the best plan here would be to push these back, right, and start the production line over there so that I can fit this in. And if I do it this way, I only need the one machine. This makes the feed input for the fluids very simple. They're going to come right across, and I can simply output right over there. I'm probably going to need 2 long-handed inserters. We're just guessing at this point, but we're going to say 2. Alright, so here is where we need to figure out which pipe is which fluid and then run it over. We also need to make sure that we're respecting where these underground pieces need to go so that the bus can continue like it needs to. So it looks like we probably need to make the left one petroleum and the right one water. But before we hook them up all the way, we're going to do one last run down through here and look at everything. Yeah, petroleum needs to be in this pipe, which is the one on the left. As we go down, it's all connecting like it should. That ends up being the top one here, and then the left one here, which means we need to get petroleum into there. This was much further than I was remembering. All right, going to be moving a lot of this down there. I think I'm just going to grab from right here and run over, see where we're going to meet up. Perfect. Now that's going to try and equalize the pressure. As you see, it's dropping rapidly in the tank, and it will fill these up very quickly. See, they're about 80%, and that's because this is roughly 80%. Now we need to get water in this line, and we're going to be using water in a lot of things. Whoa. So we're going to grab the water from right down here somewhere. Let's do here. Looks good. And then I'm just going to run this pipe up to begin with. We're, like I said, we're going to end up using water in a lot of different things. So I will have to grab off of this somewhere, drop some random pipes in that will allow me to grab. And this doesn't require power. In space exploration, it does require power, so I keep thinking that it does, but it does not. It will pump water for free somehow. I guess using kinetic energy or something. Wave power. And I should be able to run back to our concrete and run up there. All we need to do is hook those up and start producing the sulfur. Let's see. I'm going to drop one pipe there. The water is going to stay pressurized. I want another pump. Actually make all of those. We can use those extra engines. Now, the moment this gets power, it will pressurize this one little pipe and make sure that there's lots of petroleum in this machine. Running power over here is super simple. It can be done like so. Since I have that nice main line of power running down, we are going to drop some lights in. Now, this is everything necessary to craft the blues. We just need 12 assemblers and the space to do so. So we're going to have to push our line of gun turrets out. And we probably should be looking at how to set up a perimeter. How best to do that. That might actually be next episode's focus, because I know I've spent a significant amount of time in this world now, and the bugs are expanding. Let's see, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. That is an awful lot of assemblers. Let's go ahead and run our output belt. It is going to be nice to have blue science, though. Going to be very nice. And then I get to go down there and just really change how we're producing oil after we get the first handful of our blue science out. Because the first thing I'm going to go for is the advanced oil processing. Whoop, just a little short there. Now, where do we tack onto this? This actually works out great that we put it on that side of the belt too, because I don't have to do any fanciness. Just bring it around and it comes down. So, advanced oil processing. And as soon as we get that rolling and going down there, it'll be good. Now this is 12 machines, so we're at the 1 per second mark for blues, our chemical science, but we are actually ahead of that with our other sciences. So anything that we do that requires blue sciences will be slower unless we were to expand this out. And we could do that, but I need to secure my base. I need to get some turrets up. I need to have a way to deal with biters at a great distance. So that's probably going to be the focus, like I said, of next episode, is figuring out how exactly am I going to deal with them. I'm certain there's probably more nest in this area. I can start some choke points, maybe along here in between the water bodies. Just do some stuff, come down a little below our oil. Maybe we want this iron, so we come across here. Something along those lines, just to make sure that we have enough room and resources within our defensive perimeter. Now, the biters are not really much of a match for gun turrets or piercing rounds at this point still. Unless they've evolved far beyond what I think they have. What I'm probably going to end up doing is something along the lines of this, where I put a turret down, skip 2, put a turret down, and drop in a belt to feed them, and then like a power line at each one of these. And then what you can do is just make sure that there's ammunition on here. You do have to be a little careful that you don't run out of power, because there'll be no ammo put back into your gun turrets. These put, is it 5 or 10, something like that, rounds into a gun turret. So we'll have a little bit for a short amount of period, but it will run out very quickly. But I'm probably going to do something along the lines of that. And this allows you to come back in and add more turrets later on. Say you want to put laser turrets in later, you can drop them like either side of the gun turrets or whatever you decide. You know, just leaves room for you to make changes later while also providing a decent amount of protection in the meantime. But holy cow, 70% done already. We are rocking and rolling with the blue science, chemical science. This looks great too. This just makes me happy to see a more advanced production line going. But we could actually look at several different things now. Speaking of laser turrets, we could actually start getting laser turrets. We'll have to adjust our production. Oh, lubricant. Yes, yes, yes. Electric engines, robotics, construction robots. Yes. And then where's logistics robots? I was looking at it right there. Okay, yeah, I know exactly what we're going to be researching. And I will need blue circuits for that. You know, you got to have your priorities straight, all right? And we certainly have our priorities straight on what we want next. We want to make sure that we're safe, and then we want robots. Robots, robots, robots. All right, that's awesome. I don't know that I'm going to have enough time here to redo our oil right at this moment, because when you change over to the advanced oil, you don't just get petroleum, you also get heavy oil, light oil, all of that. And messing with the oil is going to be its own fun experience. So I think that's going to be it for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, thank you for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you for the next one. Bye.